Hola, amigos. Brad Evans here. It's time once again to bring the noise over the next several minutes, probably 30, 40 minutes or so. I'm going to answer your pressing fantasy football and sports betting questions. It's a murderous week in terms of the bye week schedule with several teams on a 1 week siesta. Carolina, Cincinnati, Dallas, Houston, the New York Jets, and Tennessee. So you're probably scraping the bottom of the barrel to try to get maybe 4 or 5 fantasy points. That may be enough to decide between a win or a loss. So we're going to dig deep on this episode. I'm going to give you some of my favorite player props. And of course, I'm going to go through every single comment and question that you post. And there are 3 different ways to get a hold of me here on the broadcast. Submit your questions are listed right there below me via the Facebook at Yahoo Noise, on Twitch at Big Noise 78, or on YouTube. And hopefully you're streaming the show on that platform via Fade the Noise. If you're posting your questions or comments on the X, it ain't going to give it to me. It's not filtering in. Unfortunately, that software is not compatible. You can watch the broadcast on the X, but if you want to communicate with me directly, you got to go through Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube via the various feeds that I have listed there. Hopefully got a leg up on the competition on Thursday Night Football. Travis Etienne, a pair of touchdowns in that game. Even Taysom Hill doing some damage. I played with the Kings Classic, admittedly, in the tight end slot. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and that really desperate heave connecting the end zone and paid off with the double-digit fantasy performance for him. So hopefully we're going to have some unsung heroes stepping up in this bye hellish week that we have in week 7 and make us a little bit of noise in the end fantasy-wise and maybe a few bucks as well in the player props market. Speaking of player props, number 3 on my list, as I always do, is I'm curating right now your comments and questions. Pick number 3 on the board, Wan'Dale Robinson. Give me the over 4.5 receptions against the arch rival Commanders. The juice certainly sprung loose on this. It opened at plus 110 at the various books that are out there. I got a plus 105 at BetMGM yesterday, and now the action is swung into the minus direction, minus 110 on this catch prop, and it's understandable the reason why. He is seeing a lion's share of the team target percentage, 27.5% to be exact. Wide receiver 97 and A-Dot. You know the name of the game for Wan'Dale Robinson. It's dinking, it's dunking, it's picking it apart, and underneath coverage, operating primarily out of the slot. That's why he has a very high catchable percentage as well, whether from the hand of Daniel Jones, who was trending toward doubtful today, or Tyrod Taylor at the controls. It really doesn't matter. I think he's going to go over this for the 4th consecutive week, because I got a bit of a frog in my throat, and that's now left out. He has done this in 3 straight weeks, and going to see a lot of Danny Johnson in slot coverage against Washington. The safety has played 46 snaps this season in coverage, and he's given up a decent amount in terms of yards per catch, though the catch percentage right now, just 50%, but he's only been targeted 4 times. He will be tested early. He is going to be tested often. There's no question about that. Washington as a collective giving up 25.7 receptions per game, and they are number 26 in EPA pass defense. So Wan'Dale Robinson, give me the over on 4.5 receptions against the Commanders, minus 110 at BetMGM. And I would consider his services in the flex in a receptions-heavy league, half-point PPR or greater, or even wide receiver 3. Again, given the heavy amount of teams that are on a 1-week siesta. Numero dos here on the Bring the Noise player props rundown. Jordan Love, I got a whole lot of love for you today. And passing touchdowns, give it the over. 1.5 is that number, and it's still available plus money. Now it's come down. I grabbed it earlier in the week for those that subscribe to the Fade 5 podcast. Thank you very much. And please do, if you're unfamiliar with that show, I do with Nathaniel Lundy every Monday, Thursday, and Friday, breaking down NFL, breaking down college football picks, breaking down even the NHL, which is a specialty of Lundy. or the Major League Baseball playoffs. We're getting action. If there is a game in play that day or that week, there are bets on the board. We're throwing some cash money at those offerings. Hopefully going to make some bank in the end. So check out the Fade 5 podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, or if you're subscribed to that YouTube channel, Fade the Noise, you can watch the show there. Again, Monday, Thursday, and Friday. But speaking of Jordan Love, as I said on the pod earlier this week, I love the over on the passing touchdowns. It's Denver. It's a mile high, My Little Ponies. They're cute. They're cuddly. They have combable, brushable hair. And they got sparkles. And they're also lousy defensively. The absolute dregs of the keg in EPA pass defense, number 32 in the NFL in that category. 4 signal callers that thrown for at least 2 passing touchdowns against this secondary this season. They're giving a 285.8 pass yards per game, 8.84 pass yards per attempt. Love has done this 2 times in 5 games. He is number 6, interestingly enough, in total red zone attempts. Now, he's been rather inaccurate inside the 20-yard line, number 22 in red zone completion percentage. But again, against a soft and, very destructible, that's the word I was searching for, secondary, I believe Jordan Love could go off today. I got him ranked as a fringy top 10 fantasy option at quarterback because I think he's throwing at least a pair of TDs. So give me the over 1.5 passing touchdowns in the Mile High City, plus 105 at BetMGM. And never, oh no, here on the Bring the Noise AMA. Top 9 player props board is Josh Dobbs. It could be the last hurrah for him as the starter. The Docks in the Desert's been screwing his legs. Again, is conditioning up and could be activated here in short order. Of course, I'm talking about Kyler Murray. But Dobbs is going to go out potentially with a bang up there in the Great Northwest. I like the alt line on rush yards. You get this at DraftKings. 25 or more ground yards for him at plus 115. If you woke up blurry-eyed this morning, you're kind of rubbing the sleep out of your eyes, and you saw my X feed at Noisy Huevos, or you follow me on Instagram at Team Huevos, you saw that I posted the Sledgehammer Special week 7 here on this NFL Sunday, and it's on Dobbs and on the over on rush yards. The standard line is 21.5 right now. The best line you can get is at FanDuel minus 110 juice. But if you want to take this up at DraftKings on that alternate threshold of 25 or more yards, get that significant plus money. I just simply do not understand, as I wrote about on that piece that I posted free for the public, because I don't have a writing platform right now, even though I'm the most decorated writer in gaming history. Nobody wants to, pay me for my services and slapping the fingers on the keyboard, which is fine. I still am, keeping my skills sharpened and fresh and posting all that for free for the public out there on Instagram, on Threads, as well at Team Huevos on that handle, or Nosy Huevos on the X. But as I posted in that short piece, because I'm all about short form content, Dobbs, he has cruise passes in 4 of his last 5 games. In fact, the lowest in which he hit the over on the 25-yard mark that he has had in a game, and those 4 of the last 5, 41 rush yards. That was the ground basement level floor for him. A guy that reads and reacts beautifully, 5.7 rush attempts per game. He's averaging 31.5 rush yards per game. I think he has a back-end QB1 this week for fantasy football in 12-team leagues. And you look at Seattle, the main reason why I really like this bet is the fact that Seattle is ultra aggressive. They are number 2 in the National Football League in pressure rate, dialing up the heat on the pocket, 32.3% of opposing quarterback dropbacks. Again, the second highest in the league. Only the Jets have a higher pressure rate on the season. Daniel Jones went for a Route 66 number on the ground against this defense this year. So, Dobbs on probably 6-7 attempts, I think is going to easily smash 25 rush yards and what is needed here, plus 115 at DraftKings. And he also throw in the fact, too, that Arizona is number 23 in pass blocking efficiency. Means, okay, you got an aggressive defense, you got a leaky offensive line, opportunistic impromptu runs are on the menu for him today up there in Pike trucking land, also known as Starbucks City, also known as Seattle. So give me Josh Dobbs, 25 or more rush yards. My top play of the day in the player props market, plus 115 on that alt line, available at DraftKings. Again, here's how you can submit your questions to me, and I'm going to get to those here and start tackling them right now. Go to Facebook at Yahoo Noise. Type in, "Hey Brad, you stink," or "Hey Brad, your head is ugly. I hate you, despise you, but can you answer my fantasy question?" I'm going to answer it. I don't care. All right. I'm not offended anyway. I know that this hideous phase has been hitting every branch in the early tree on the way down, but at Yahoo Noise on Facebook, on Twitch at Big Noise 78, or on YouTube via the Fade the Noise channel. But wait, there's more of me as well, and former NFL hard-hitting safety and my brother from another mother, Tank Williams. We are taking the Bleacher Report app starting at noon Eastern time. If you don't have the app already, download it on your phone, pull it up, and you get to see Tank and I exchange pleasantries about our boom, our bank, and our bust pick for every single matchup here on this NFL Week 7 Sunday. So tune in there. We'll update you on the latest injury news and notes, answer our most pressing fantasy question of the day. And I can tell you this, that is crafted from more of the deep league audience, and a question that is perplexing a lot of those in fantasy land this NFL Sunday. We're going to answer it, at least with our 2 cents. So, we're not any kind of coaching staff, but we are heavily opinionated. So tune in on the Bleacher Report app, our fantasy and sports betting, all gaming, all the time, spectacular stream, only on the Bleacher Report app, starting at noon Eastern time. All right, let's get after it here on this Bring the Noise AMA. And first out of the box, Pete Farmer says, congratulations, Pete. You just learned the English language here. Again, great. Welcome, Pete. I'm glad you made it and rolled out of bed. Apparently last night, you might have drank the entire bottle of tequila and swallowed the worm. The only Sutton says, in a half-point PPR Superflex, buys and injuries have me in a bind. Oh, I know that pain all too well. Need a quarterback out of this group. Kenny Pickett, Tyrod Taylor, or Gardner Minshew. Minshew's out, especially against the number 1 EPA pass defense in the National Football League. That is the Cleveland Browns. I want nothing to do with him. And a little bonus time, I took the under on Michael Pittman receiving yards, grabbed it at 52.5. I don't know what the number is right now. I don't think he's going to escape the 40s. Today, not against that ultra-talented secondary. Martin Emerson specifically, it's probably going to be one of his primary assignments in this game. 30% catch rate, 35 flat passer rating allowed. That is it. It's going to be tough sledding for Minshew. Probably a lot of checkdowns today to Jonathan Taylor and to Zach Moss. So he's out of the equation. It comes down to Pickett and Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod's interesting, but I am going to side with Kenny Pickett. And the reason being is this. I think Matthew Stafford's going off. This could be a 40 to 45 or more pass attempt kind of game with Darrell Henderson in that backfield. My guy, Royce Freeman, back from the dead. Holy cow. Is he going to actually deliver on all the hype? Probably not. But that's your backfield in this game. Zach Evans going to be the third fiddle, in the rotational RBBC. I think it's going to be a heavy dose of Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Tyler Higbee, whoever's catching the damn rock, he's got to be spinning it. So what does that mean for Kenny Pickett? Could be a high volume opportunity for him as well. If Stafford is as efficient as he can be, and knowing the electricity and the reliability he has in Nacua and Kupp, I think there could be a lot of numbers put on the scoreboard by the LA Rams, and Pickett's going to have to try to match that. So slight lean here to Kenny Pickett over Mr. Tyrod Taylor. Ryan Dohan, trade question. Purdy for Hollywood Brown. Hollywood. I don't know if this is a single quarterback league, super flex league. I need context. But assuming it's a one quarterback league, Brock Purdy probably isn't your starter, might be a backup. And even if he's a backup in like a 16, 18, or 20 teamer, and you got a viable quarterback one, yeah, make the trade, man. I think Hollywood Brown is a certifiable back-end wide receiver too. And he'll jump occasionally to the wide receiver 1 ranks one week, maybe a slide down to wide receiver 3, but largely he's reliable because he gets an enormous team target share. J. Gilpadilla. Hello, sir. Puka or Chris Godwin? If you watch Live on the Line, my television show, in which I have my esteemed co-host, Cameron Smith, and Danny Klebinger alongside me. Brandon Senior Funbuns is on the show on Friday. Tank Williams joins us every single Thursday. Matt Fortuna in studio as well on Thursdays, bringing down the college football slate. So with that advertisement out of the way, I talked about how much I love Nakua this week. I took him for anytime touchdown prop. And right now it's plus 190, believe it or not, at DraftKings. And I think Puka's going to score. I love Chris Godwin. I think it's going to be probably a 5, 6, 60-plus yard kind of game for him. Excellent paper matchup, working out of the slot in his matchup against the ATL. And that's been the area of vulnerability defensively, is defending slot wide receivers. But Puka Nakua, again, just through the sheer volume of Matthew Stafford, given the shakeup in that running back room, I think is really going to be emphasized inside the red zone. And on top of that, he's going to see a lot of Patrick Peterson. You know the name. You say, oh, man, that guy's a shutdown corner. Well, he used to be a while back. He's allowed 4 touchdowns to his assignments this season. And right now projected his primary assignment, Puka Nakua. So I think he's going to splash 6 along with 50-plus yards today. Start him. Hockey not need to at a full point PPR. DJ Moore, Hollywood, or Jacoby Myers. Gracias, amigo. Donata. DJ Moore's got to sit. You got Tyler Bagnett or Tyson or whatever the hell his name is under center for the Chicago Bears. I mean, come on. You're down to starting left tackle. Deonta Foreman is going to be your starting running back. I mean, Tyson Bagnett is going to be swarmed under in this game. It's not good news for DJ Moore. He may catch 4 or 5 balls, but they could be of the snack size variety and not chunk gains. So for me, it's got to be Hollywood Brown and Jacoby Myers. And Jacoby, same game, different name. Brian Hoyer is going to be throwing the rock to him, but Hoyer's got a number of starts in his NFL career. Revenge game against the Bears? No, but I like Myers quite a bit. Jerry says, half point PPR, Gabe Davis or Deontay Johnson, fresh off the injured reserve list. Oh, this is a tough one. Deontay Johnson could be a sneaky volume guide today. Again, given the likely deficit I believe Pittsburgh's going to be playing in from behind. And it's not like the Rams have been shut down in that secondary. You know what? I'm talking myself into it. Give me Deontay Johnson. I think there's more upside there because the target share is going to be much higher by comparison to Gabe Davis. You may get 3 catches out of Gabe, but you are banking on boom bust touchdown with him. At least with Johnson, I think the floor is probably 4 receptions, maybe 5 receptions. So as a result, it could be, 55, 60 yards in total for him. And maybe he finds him as well. Again, in a high volume situation there against the Rammies. KGG unit says New England or the Green Bay defense. It's never the Patriots. I mean, come on, man. Bill Belichick's going to need, I think, a triple order of McRibs at the local McDonald's after the game if they can't, live up to any semblance of a decent team. And right now, that is very much up in the air. I can't back New England on any grounds whatsoever, with the exception of I do like Kendrick Bourne today on the over on his receiving yards prop right now in the mid-30s. But, you could cash on that. He may not be spectacular for fantasy purposes, but that's the only angle that I like in this game from a positive perspective on New England. Go Green Bay. Kanan Cash says, hey, Brad, need 3 to PPR. Warren, Rashad White, Waller, Najee Harris, Foreman, or McLaughlin. He's got some jets tied to those sneakers, man. The guy could really fly all over the field for the Denver Broncos, and Sean Payton absolutely loves him. White's in for sure. I'm going to go with Deonta Foreman for the other one. I think he could have 60-plus yards, couple of receptions, decent shot at a touchdown. Given the delicious and delectable matchup against Vegas, the Raiders are number 29 in EPA rush D on the season. So you need 3 in total. Foreman's on the board. White's in. So who's the third option? I think it's McLaughlin, honestly. I think he's going to catch probably 2-3 balls. I think he's going to get 6-7 carries. He's a threat to take it into the end zone. It's not like Green Bay has been extraordinary defensively on the ground. So could be a sneaky good play. And I would roll the dice and clack and a clack and go with him. John says, hola, amigo. Hola to you, hombre. Love or howl. Again, Jordan Love for me. And both these guys can supplement their production on the ground. I mean, Howell's probably good for around 15 rush yards. Love will probably do roughly the same. But, man, you got to take advantage of this Denver Broncos secondary. Dead last EP pass defense. Dear Mayor Mathis, dead last. And NFL passer rating allowed to his assignments this season in that secondary. It could be a monster game for Jordan Love. That potential exists. I think bare bones, you're looking at probably 230 yards and 2 scores, along with like 10 rush yards. And that's the bottom floor for him. The ceiling, significantly higher. So chase those numbers with Jordan Love. Andre says Jerome Ford or Deonta Foreman. Ford's interesting and a guy that's got some serious juice in those legs. He's looked really good when given some opportunities, but he's in a split backfield. We'll see about Kareem Hunt's status. It sounds like he's a full-blown game time decision. I probably lean ever so slightly to Ford because I think it's going to be a positive game script, at least potentially for Cleveland getting Watson back and knowing that Indy is a mediocre defense in its entirety. A little bit more upside there with Ford than Freeman, but a great question. Great Sambo says, hola, amigo. Hola to you. Need 2 in a flex, please, in a PPR. Najee, Sutton, Downs. Najee's in, and I would go with Sutton with the other one. I mean, Downs, he may get 4 or 5 receptions, but for what? 40, 45 yards? I mean, that's it. That'd probably be the max, especially against the best secondary in the league. All the advanced analytics point in that direction. That is the Cleveland Browns. Downs is out. Derek says, hola, give me 2. DJ Moore, no. Chris Godwin, yes. Sutton, maybe. Palmer, Dobbs. I'm going to go with Godwin, and I'm going to go with Courtland Sutton, who's getting a pretty significant amount of red zone looks from Russell Wilson. And again, that is a game that's got some sneaky shootout of pew, 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 going against Green Bay. If the Packers offense can light up the scoreboard, I think they're very capable of doing that because anybody with a pulse is capable of doing that against Denver. That kind of plays into then Russell Wilson uncorking early and often in this game to try to keep pace. So for me, it's Godwin's a windmill slam dunk, and then it's Sutton for the other one. Jim says Foreman, Taylor, Jonathan Taylor, Brian Robinson, or Bijan Robinson. When you go B. Robinson, there's 2 of them, rather significant. I'm guessing it's Brian. If it's Bijan, absolutely, you're playing Bijan. If it's Brian, it's debatable. Foreman, I think, is on the fence here. With it being PPR, I think Jonathan Taylor could have a sneaky good receptions kind of game again. This could be a 5-catch effort today. I took the over, by the way, on 2.5 catches. That's a real prop. It's available right now on BetMGM, DraftKings, whatever it is. Pay the juice. I did. If you like it. I'm going to go with Taylor, and I will go with whatever Robinson version got there. Foreman rides the pine. Robert says, hola, amigo. Looking for a flex, Rashee Rice or Jameson Williams. It's Rashee Rice. And in the player props market specifically, and you can kind of use these numbers to your advantage if you play fantasy football, and hopefully you're in a legal market, or maybe you play a prize picks or underdog, one of those pick'em styles. It's the same numbers that the sportsbooks have in terms of player props that are out there. You just got to parlay it. Boatload of them together and hopefully cash in the end. Anyway, Rice's number has crept up. It opened at 35.5, and it's now, last I saw, was at 38.5. Some books had it at 39.5. His role is ramping up. He's a chunk gainer. Mahomes is starting to trust him, especially inside the red zone. So for me, it's like, do you hit a home run with Jameson Williams? Entirely capable. But you got Josh Reynolds there. It's got to steal away some of his opportunities. Amon-Ra St. Brown got to work primarily underneath. Marvin Harrison is out, which helps Williams out, but I go Rice. I think the touchdown appeal is far greater. Kanan again, need 2 at a PPR. Wan'Dale Osborne, Najee Warren, or Elijah Mitchell. Yeah, welcome to week 7 with 6 teams on bye and so many injuries. It's ugly out there right now. Wan'Dale's in. I think he's catching 5 balls at a minimum today. So Robinson is my first option. Second option, don't really know what's going to go on with San Francisco. Can't really bank on it. So Mitchell's out. Warren, you may get 3-4 receptions out of, especially if that game turns into that, bombing kind of shootout that I expect. but I go KJ Osborne. Probably the safest floor of all of them. Card Z says, good morning, Brad. Hola. Hope all is well. Need one for a flex and a half point PPR. Javonte Williams, Jacoby Myers, Daryl Henderson, no. Or Darren Waller, also no. It comes down to Myers or Juggernaut Javonte Williams. Yeah, cue the Ariel Speedwagon in the background for the old fans of my former show on Sirius XM. Maybe I'll be back someday. Who knows? I'm going to go with the safer floor here, and that's Jacoby Myers. It's the Bears. They're number 31 in EPA pass seed. I don't care if Brian Hoyer is your quarterback. Jacoby Myers just gets separation, and he's got very reliable hands. Should be a 4 to 6 catch kind of game for him. Dennis says, hey, Brad, need to choose between Foreman, Henderson, or Judy at a PPR. It's not Daryl Henderson. And it's probably not Foreman either, given the type of league you're in. Points per reception. I think the floor in terms of catches for Jerry Jeudy today is 4. It should be a 4 to 6 catch kind of game for him. As I keep saying, it's on Blueface. I understand a lot of the totals on the board are like in the 30s and they're low and suppressed this week. That there is one game outside of the Sunday night football affair between the Dolphins and Eagles that could have a plethora of points. It's Packers and Broncos. So for that reason, I'm going Judy. Mark says, I go Jerome Ford today, but I'm far from Brad's level of expertise. I'm not an expert. I'm just not. I look at the data, I look at the numbers, I watch the film, I see stuff, I ascertain, I crunched various pieces of data, and I come to a conclusion. Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. You know? Win some, lose most. That's kind of what I subscribe to. So, yeah, I kind of agree. Go Jordan Ford. Matthew says start 2 PPR, Judy, JSN, or Elijah Moore. More sits. I like sneaky good play for JSN. He could have a breakout game today going against an area that has really been problematic for Arizona this season. That's defending the slot. And to give you some background on that, specifically, who's their primary slot guy is Johnson, I believe. I got this written down somewhere in my notes. I gotta find it. Apparently I can't find it. Anyway, I wrote about it. It's now, eluding me in my memory. But if you follow me on the X at Noisy Huevos, I picked JSN because of his slot cornerback matchup as a fantasy flame wide receiver. Got it projected for like 5 catches, around 50 yards, and a touchdown. So that's the direction I lean. Ryan says, good morning. Before we get to my question, my wife and I welcomed our first baby girl into the world on Friday. Well, congratulations. Way to go, Ryan. And congratulations, Mrs. and the family. Hope everybody is healthy. And the fun really begins now. Have fun wiping butts. But no, seriously, congratulations. Let's put the cherry on top of Sunday with the question here. Deontay Johnson, Jaleel McLaughlin, or Kareem Hunt if he plays in a PPR flex. Again, if he plays, I'm going to go with Deontay Johnson. I'll take my chances with him. He was full go in practice all week. Should get back to doing what he does best. That's catching a lot of balls from the hand of Kenny Pickett in a game in which they could play from behind. And again, congrats to you and the family, Ryan. The other Ryan, another one. It's a popular name today. Kirk Cousins or Watson if he plays. Again, if there's any kind of doubt, and I understand the matchup is somewhat favorable against the Colts, I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins Monday night against San Francisco. If you're going to take advantage of the 49ers on offense, it's through the air. You can't really run on them, but the back of that defense, I think is slightly above average. If they're not locked down any way, shape, or form. So Kirk Cousins, could deal with a deficit in that game as well. And as a result, be forced to throw a high volume to try to keep pace. DJ says Deontay Johnson or Godwin all day, Chris Godwin, for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. Audrin says pick 2 running backs and a flex to start. Madison, Ramondre, Warren, Javonte, or Dobbs. Look, Stevenson, I can't even trust. I can't trust anybody really outside of Kendrick Bourne in this New England offense right now. And I have Mac Jones in a super flex league, and it sucks because I kind of have to play him. I don't really have any backup options that I can rely on. So I'm rolling with a Mac Daddy. I may need like 3 McRibs to try to stomach what he is going to do today. So I'm going to do in New England. I'm going to go with Javonte and Dobbs, believe it or not. Same game, different names in that Broncos matchup. Let's go with Brian, and he says, "Hola, Brad. Hola to you. Wait and see on CMC or Wilson today." Oh, this sucks. If you don't have Madison picked up or Elijah Mitchell picked up, so to crutch a lean on in case the CMC Football Factory is unplugged and out of business, I think you got to go Wilson. I don't expect a whole lot from Wilson. Maybe 7 to 9 carries against the Eagles, but at least you avoid the donut. I mean, if you want to roll the dice, you go with CMC. It sounds like he's trending in the right direction, but it's far from a guarantee he's going to play. Patrick says 2 wide receivers, Devonta Smith, Jordan Addison, or George Pickens. I'm going to go with Pickens and Mr. Smith. Aubrey says, hola to you. DK Godwin. DK is a full-blown game-time decision. Sits. Wilson Jr. sits. Or Deontay Johnson sits. It's Chris Godwin. And for all the reasons I mentioned, if you're going to take advantage of this Atlanta secondary, it's in slot coverage. Period of the story. All the numbers verify that. So as a result, got to maximize the matchup and hope it pans out. Clint says, I'm fed up with the Gus bus. Rolling off a cliff in a deep, dark canyon. And his standard leagues, would you drop him for Tony, Downs, or JSN? Or even Wandale? Well, a standard league, like, who plays in standard anymore? That's what's crazy. Tell your league commissioner, yeah, we got to evolve in the 21st century and play in some form of PPR, even like quarter PPR, half point PPR, just something. We need to get some more production. It can't just be so touchdown heavy. Though I do like JSN. I'm predicting him to score his first NFL touchdown today. Sean says, hola, amigo. Hola to you. Flex question, need 2 at a full point PPR. Pittman, Harris, Williams, that's Jameson Williams, Royce Freeman. I can't believe we're talking about Royce. Maybe he's finally going to deliver and all the hype that I once delivered. Oh, my goodness. Doubt it. Or Deontay Foreman. So in a flex, full point PPR, I need 2. I'm down on Pittman today. Still could catch 4 or 5 balls. Probably a safer floor there. I tell you what, Sean, if you're chasing ceiling, Foreman is in. I think he's got a decent shot of scoring. Royce is out. And I would probably go Najee Harris ever so slightly over Jameson Williams. So Harris and Foreman are my top 2 picks. So Pittman has the safest floor of the bunch. I just don't see him doing a whole lot. Steve says, morning, good sir. Good morning to you. One player need a running back and flex out of Stevenson, Flowers is in. Ford and Jonnu. It's Flowers and Ford for me. Best of luck to you. And get that dub. Keith says, Monsieur Noise. Hola. Hola to you. Oh, Keith. Wide receiver in a flex on PPR from Metcalf. Again, full-blown game time decision. You got Flowers. Flowers is in. And Moss. The downside with this, okay, Flowers is, without question, cemented as one of the guys. Do you roll the dice on DK Metcalf? Or do you just take like the 4 or 5 points you're going to get out of Moss? I would roll the dice on Metcalf, but make sure that you have an alternate waiting in the wings. Maybe you drop Zach Moss and you pick somebody up off waivers in case DK is out. You can lean on that individual. That's probably my best advice for you, Keith. Best of you, Monsieur. Matt says, hola, Senior Brad. Need 1. Addison, Deontay Johnson, or Jeff Wilson. I went Deontay Johnson out of that group. Daniel says Michael Pittman or DJ Moore. Oh, who's going to be the lesser of the 2 evils here? I guess Pittman. At least he's got somewhat of a rough chemistry with his quarterback and Gardner Minshew. I despise the matchup. I think he's really going to get bottled up, but, not for 0 points. KGG unit, Geno Smith or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins for me. John says, which D, Seattle or Washington? Give me Seattle. Lap J says, Daddy wants, Daddy needs. Daddy gotta have it. It's a sledgehammer. Again, the over on Josh Dobbs rush yards. 22.5. Took it up to 25 and get a plus 115 right now, DraftKings. Matt says, if Metcalf doesn't go, DK, roll with JSN with 0 worries. Yeah. Or play Addison or Deontay Johnson over him. Ooh, interesting. Actually, if Metcalf sits, I'm going to go with where the target share is going to shift. And I believe that is JSN. I grabbed this player prop earlier in the week when it was live. It's been pulled at every book last I checked. And it was, I think, like in the high 30s. And it was way too low. Again, I think this could be a breakout game for Smith and Jigba today, given the matchup against the slot corner from Arizona. It's just Arizona in general and the fact that DK is banged up or may not play. Lou says two in a PPR. Gabe Davis, Sutton, Samuel, or Laporta. Laporta's in. You're never sitting Laporta. I mean, he's getting a mammoth target share. He's reliable. His floor every single week is like 3 for 30. And he's always a threat to find the end zone. So he's in my lineup. And I'm actually going to recruit a Samuel for the one. That's how close it is. Elsewhere, Peter says Javonte or Madison. Hey, Peter, you are indeed here, as you said at the top of the show. Javonte, please. Clint, as a Panthers fan down here in Carolina, I'm sorry, but I'm an Illinois fan, and we blew lead, gave up 18 points in the stupid fourth quarter yesterday in Wisconsin. I hate my life. Basketball season's nearly here. That's all I care about. Should I pick up Mason or Elijah Mitchell in a full PPR because McCaffrey will continue to stay hurt and probably not even finish the season? Mason's got more juice, and I would go Mason over Elijah Mitchell. John says, please pick two running backs in a PPR. Warren, Edwards, Algier, Zach Evans. Evans out. Probably going to be the third wheel today. Warren has got the better floor in a points per reception league. So, probably 3-4 receptions for him. He's in my lineup. And I'm going to go Tyler Algier over Gus the Buzz, who is in the shop right now, seemingly. Willie Page, Tyler Lockett, or Zay Jones? Zay Jones. No. I've been on Thursday. Is that Zay Flowers? So it's Lockett, Laporta, or Kittle. I go Laporta over Kittle. Matt Vario says, Huevos El Grande. He says, Zach Moss or Josh Downs at a PPR. Ugh. Zach Moss, I guess. I don't feel great about him. Key says, just in case you get this far, can I substitute Gabe Davis or Atwell for Moss? Yeah, Gabe Davis all day for Moss. Best luck to you, Keith. Fred says, 1 point PPR, JSN or Rashee Rice. JSN ever so slightly. Very, very close between him and Rashee Rice. I think both guys are going to finish as top 30 wide receivers this week. Do me a favor, would you? Watch Tank Williams and I coming up on Bleacher Report. You got to stream us on the app starting at noon Eastern. We're going to answer more of your fantasy football questions, break down our favorite boom, bust, and bank picks, and every single game as well. I wrote the damn show. I host the show. Tank makes the show with his very unique, one-of-a-kind tankisms. So please tune in on the Bleacher Report app. We're going to be breaking everything down. And again, we're going to be reaching out to you, the public. If you didn't get your question answered right here, we're going to do it there. So go and download that app now or pull it up and get ready because we're going to air here in about 22 minutes. Until then, best of luck in week number 7, mi amigos. And until next time, adios,